All right, this is Atlas's first or second time in the round pen. I'm just gonna try and work with him a little bit. I don't want to scare him. I just want to have him move off and listen. So first I want to just make sure he's connected with me here. I want to just take a few seconds here to just pet on him, make sure he's like still interested in me. So I don't want to just chase him the first thing when I get in the round pen, because he's not a pushy horse. He's, still somewhat wild, so I don't want to scare him with too much pressure. That's how you get horses jumping over panels and things like that. So I want to just be very light and gentle with him. So I'm just barely asking him to go forward. I'm just trying to guide him forward, and then I'll release once he takes a step forward. If he stops, that's fine. I'll just ask again. He got a little scared there. It's okay. But he's being very good overall. Like here, he just wants to touch the stick. So I'll allow that. I'll let him touch it. It's okay. Because before, I've had him target it, and then it'll touch him, and that's what he's used to. So that's why I desensitize with the stick first, because I want him to know that it's not going to scare him. I can touch him, and he can touch it, and it's not a big deal. But sometimes it does mean move. So he can touch it, and then I'll be like, okay, let's go on. And then I'll release, put my hand down there while he walks off. Very good. And he wants to stay in here too, so that desensitizing with the positive reinforcement and just the positive reinforcement in general will kind of help him want to stay near me too, because he knows like, oh, all the good stuff's near me, so why would I want to run away? That was a nice little circle there. I'll just be like, yep, that was great, go on. And then I'll release. You don't necessarily want to add in the desensitizing or the positive reinforcement if you have a horse that's very pushy. Because then they won't be afraid of the stick, and so then you kind of have less tool there. So I'm gonna back up here, see if I can draw him toward me. He's just kind of looking at the food bowl over there, which I used to get him in the round pen. Then I'll have him go forward. I'll ask again. He kind of took some steps. There he goes. And I'll just let him stop and stand right here. But as I was saying, if your horse is pushy, wants to kind of run over you, is not a wild horse, or is possibly a wild horse that might want to come towards you too much or charge at you or something like that, I would not desensitize to the stick at first. I would keep that tool because you want it kind of as powerful as you can get it there, in case you need to push them out of your space. Atlas is not this way, so that's why I did the desensitizing first. He's much more frightened than anything else. So I want him to just sit there for a bit before I ask him to go off, because I really want him to think that drawing forward toward me and resting with me while looking at me with two eyes is the best thing possible. So he wants to get stuck here by the gate, because it is the gate. He lives off to the right here behind that horse trailer. And also, I had brought some grain in to get him into the round pen. He'll follow the bowl in, so he thinks there might be a nice snack there. So I'm just trying to get him to do an inside turn. So I'm trying to yield his hindquarters here. There we go. Draw him toward me by backing up, and then there we go, making an inside turn. So outside turn is not the end of the world, but I would like him to turn inside, and I don't really want it to be a habit. So I just gently fixed him by like moving his hindquarters over and being like, no, this is what I'd like. And if he stops, that's fine. I'll ask him to go forward. The stopping is fine. I'm not going to punish him. I'm not going to chase him and be like, no, you must canter now. Like, I don't care about that. So he wants to get stuck by the bowl here. So I'm just going to push him off of it. He turns away. That's okay. I'm just going to move it out of the way here. But I don't want to go in there and just scare him and chase him away. I want to connect. That's what the round penning is about, is getting control of the body and just connecting. So I was going for an inside turn there, but he didn't understand it at that point. That's okay. I just wanted him to move off to my left anyway. So there he drew in pretty good because he had some forward there. So he drew in nicely, and I'm just going to let him stand here and just hang out with me, because I really want this point to be a really good place for him. And I don't mind if he comes in. That's great. And then he goes off. That's fine too. I'll just see if he'll come. He didn't want to really draw, so I'm just going to try and move him back. So again, I want him to go to my left here, so I'm just moving his hindquarters and then push him over. Very good. And do that inside turn, and he's sticking to me, which is nice. Looking for his food again, so I'm just see if I can get him past it without him trying to turn away. Good. So I'm just doing everything nice and slow. I don't want to scare him. Don't need a bunch of pressure. That's nice. I like that inside turn. I'm not going to punish him and be like, no, it's okay, very good. And then I'll just ask him to go forward. And he picked up the trot on his own. So I'll move him past that. So I'm gonna ask him to trot here. There's a little trot, so I'll let go, and he wants to look at me, which is totally good. So I'm gonna try to draw him. He didn't really understand. He thought I was kind of pushing on him. But I kind of ran out of space there because the fence was right there. So I'll ask him to go forward again, get past this magnet here, and then I'm gonna step in front and then behind, draw him in, and he goes off the other way. That's fine. I would like him to stay there and look at me. I'm gonna push him past this right here. I'd like him to stay there and just give me 2 eyes and look at me, but that's okay. He did an inside turn, so I'm fine with that. And I like how he's bent here. He's got a nice bend on the circle. I just want him to be nice and relaxed. I know some people like to get in here and get cantering right away, but I really want him to just understand what I want before I add in the speed. So he's got a nice little trot there. And if he breaks, I'm just going to ask him again. And then he goes off. As soon as he gets into the trot, I'll let go. I don't care how long he trots. I just want him to get into it. So my cues to trot are the voice cue trot, and then I will pick up my right hand or the hand that's in front of him to kind of show him the direction I want him to go. And then I'll pick up my stick, and then I'll swing my stick toward him, and then I'll continue to do that until he goes forward. There I asked him to go to draw into me. He didn't draw in, so I asked him to go forward, and then I kept backing up to draw him into me. So you can't get any draw without forward movement. So there I really want to open the door for him. So I really went off to my right there and pushed him so he could go off to the left. Really opened the door a lot. So I'm asking him to trot again. There he goes. I just want to make sure that he wants to look at me with a draw, and when they stand still and they're parallel to me on the fence, they're not going to come in. They don't have that forward to kind of propel themselves into the turn. They just stop there. So I asked for that forward again and then draw. So right there, I'm going to ask him to go forward. He just stands still, and he just doesn't know yet. And he's looking at me. That's okay. That's good. But I really would like that front foot to come over. That was better. To come over and look at me there. And then I'll just push him over to the other side. There he goes. That was very nice. I liked his inside turn. He was looking at me. He didn't get too worried, and then he went off the other way. So I'll have him trot right here by the gate. He's got the inside ear on me. That's really nice. Ask him again. I want him to commit to the mistake. So he goes all the way to a walk, and then I ask him to trot. I'm not going to keep nagging at him while he's already trotting. Very good. And I'll draw back a little bit. I need a little bit more forward there. He was looking at me, but he didn't want to bring those front feet toward me. So that's kind of his thing there, is the drawing is where we need to kind of fix that part. And the forward is going to go with that, since he's not... Oh, there we go. That was better. I'll let him sit here for a minute. Since he's not super forward, that's the hard part, is that kind of goes hand in hand with the draw. So we've got to work at both at the same time. So just let him stand here, hang out for a minute. I really want him to know that this is a good place. Sometimes, like, I will do positive reinforcement too. I'm just kind of experimenting here. As I round pen, so I'm just kind of experimenting. I want to see what works, what doesn't. This is either the first time or the second time he's been in the round pen. So the first time I probably just play with it, see where they're at, how much pressure does it take, and etc. And then I'll add in the positive reinforcement. I'm just trying to play with it right now. So looking back on the video, I would probably just do positive reinforcement from the beginning with him. But these guys are my first Mustang, so I'm just the whole thing is just a big experiment. So we're just seeing how it goes. But this is very nice. He's just keeping his attention on me the whole time. My husband's in the background doing something, so he's kind of looking over at him too. But he always comes back to me. He's always very attentive. So I'm really opening the door for him here. Very nice. And he goes off. And if he stops, that's okay. Just ask again. And then for walk, I'm also using a voice cue. I'll say walk, and then just one click, and then I'll raise my stick, or my arm, and then my stick. If he stops, that's fine. Ask him to go on. And I start with those voice cues from the very beginning. So it's always very consistent. Walk, trot, canter is going to be the same all the time. So it starts in the round pen. I do it on the lunge line. It goes to under saddle. It's always the same. So that he knows what those words mean. So ask him to trot here. Very good. Got a nice little trot. Not a whole lot of energy, but that's fine because I didn't really want to put too much and have him trying to run out the round pen and be crazy and stuff. So we don't want that. Or he just didn't have enough forward, so I get him into a little canter there for a stride or two, and then try and get that forward so I can get the draw. That was better. Take that, let him sit here. But he just doesn't really want to go forward enough. He's kind of like, oh, I'd like to just stand here while you feed me treats and desensitize me to the stick instead of go forward. And I think generally, as far as I have seen with my 2 Mustangs, that they really want to not be very forward. I'm sure there's some of them that definitely are, but the ones I have, they definitely want to conserve that energy. So that's definitely going to be helpful for me in the training process. Unlike some thoroughbreds and Arabs and things where they just run. I mean, each can have their downfalls. But I feel like one that's not super forward is a little bit easier to deal with. This is a really nice trot lap for him. I'm asking for a canter. He gets into it, wants to play around. That's fine. He drops out of it. That's okay. Ask him again. If he writes it, yep, he hopped right into it, so I'll quit. And then I'll try and draw him in. And he just didn't want to stay connected there. He wanted to look out. So I just ask him forward again. Again, no, he didn't want to look out. So he's got his inside ear on me, but he's looking out. There we go. He's looking out. So I went to go have him go off again, and he turned in, so I immediately stepped back, and I'll let him just stand here and look at me. And we'll just let him rest here for a minute. And he's licking and chewing, so that's very good. So when he's licking and chewing, he's coming from a state of some worry back down to like a grazing state. So like if a horse is grazing on grass and they hear a sound and they pull their head up, they're now a little worried. They're like, oh goodness, should I get into flight? They're at the edge of going into flight. So there's some adrenaline in there. And then they probably listen, and then they'll go back to grazing and they'll start licking and chewing again. So that's what he's doing here. He was a little worried with that canter work, and then he came, faced me, sat for a second. He was like, oh, okay, I'm okay. And then he licked and chewed. So we really want lots of licking and chewing because the horse is coming from a state of worry to a better state of relaxation. So, and that's very important because there always, not always, but there's going to be something every day when you are with your horse that's going to cause him worry. And not like panic and fear, hopefully, but just a little worry, a little tension. And that's normal for all people too. So I'm going to send him off here the other way. Like you're like, oh, I'm a little worried about this deadline. And then you meet it and you're like, oh, okay, it's fine. It's just a little bit of worry. But I want the horses to learn how to deal with that in a healthy way. And licking and chewing is how they do it, because then they're releasing that tension. If they just hold it in, eventually they'll explode. So that's where you get this spooking on the trail. You're like, oh, well, he's fine. If a bird jumps out, he doesn't worry. But after his 3rd or 4th bird, the horse can't deal with it anymore, and he wants to run home, or he wants to rear or buck or whatever. So I really want that release of the tension. So ask him to trot here over by the gate. Get a cute little trot there. Quite lazy, but that's okay. I don't want to push him too much in the beginning. I want to just make this nice and easy. Ask him to canter here. I'm going to keep asking. There we go. His canter's kind of all over the place. But he's little enough that he should figure out the balance of the round pen. He didn't want to turn in there, so I'm just going to ask him to go forward. Ask again. Nope, no draw. So he just goes right back forward. Go on. There we go. He doesn't quite understand what I want there. So I'm trying to push him forward as I back up. Oh, there we go. And I'll back up. So as soon as he looks at me, I'll back up. So I already previously taught him the hindquarter yield. He definitely needs that for this. It just makes my life easier. But you can not teach it before, but I like to have that just because, like here, I did a lot of hindquarter yield to get him to face me and then to just position him, so it just helps once you get into the round pen. I'm letting him sit here. And I don't want him to sit by the gate a long time, because he does want to go over there. He does live out that way. They know where the gate is. I'd like him to rest more on the opposite side of the round pen. So that was very nice. He's looking and chewing right there. That was very good. Because that was one of the inside turns where I didn't have to ask him to go forward and then draw again. I didn't have to do that multiple times. He just drew right in, so that was great. We can just hang out here. See, he looked to the side, and then he looked back to me, so he looked to the side, and then he came back to me, so that's very good. I want that attention and relaxation are super important. And there he goes off. Very good. So I like that he went for a canter, and then he comes right back down to this state, so that's also something I'm looking for. So I'm asking for the trot. Let's see if he'll draw in. No, he hasn't quite got it yet. That's okay. So if I was adding in positive reinforcement here, every time he comes and faces me, I would click in and then go up there and feed him. Because that's just going to help me out. Because then I can really say, oh, this is exactly what I want. I can be very, very clear. With here, it's a little bit muddy. It's a little fuzzy for him. He doesn't quite understand what I want yet. There, I pushed him into a canter. Hopefully he has enough draw. Oh, he thought about it, and then he's like, oh, no. He thought about coming in, and then he looked over to his right there to his pasture, and he was like, nope. He's got his ear on me, and then he's decided not to, so go forward, ask for again. There we go. Great. I'll let him sit here, and I'm just going to keep going backward because I want him to really like, this is what I wanted. He's licking and chewing again. That's great. I'm just going to try and take all the pressure off of him. So I just back all the way up, let him sit here, and then we'll send him back off the other way. So I'm not too worried that he's not cantering consistently the whole lap. It's not a big deal. I'm just kind of testing the waters. How much pressure does it take for him to move? How's his draw? What were his magnets? What's he like? And then we'll kind of correct some of those things as we go. So the first session or two, I'm just kind of seeing where he's at, and then from there, we'll start going about fixing things. So from here, I'm going to add in the positive reinforcement, and then he's going to get it when he's drawing in and then when he's making upward transitions, since those are the things he's struggling with. So I'm just going to go around his side here because he had some nice inside turns. So I'm going to try and do the hooking on process. So I'm just trying to get that hindquarter step over. It hasn't, so I'm just going to keep following him here. There we go. He pushed steps really far underneath there, and then I'm going to turn and walk away. Great. Because ideally, I want him to end. He's licking and chewing again. That's fantastic. I want him to end in the middle, and then I just want him to kind of follow me a couple steps would be great. If he doesn't, it's not the end of the world, but I do want to bring that connection back that we had in the beginning where I can yield his hindquarters and then go in there and pet him and make sure that I didn't scare him too much. But so for the future, when he's doing an inside turn, he draws in really nice, he's going to get clicked and fed, and then when he goes into a trot and into a canter, he will be rewarded for those things as well, because those are the things that he's struggling with. So I really want to point those out to him and in the future so we can just improve on those. And so I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm just going to walk toward his hindquarters, put a little pressure, keep asking. There he steps under. Oh, he's still kind of going away, so I'm going to stay, yep, there we go, right there. And then he looks at me, perfect. So I'm just going to do that on each side. I want him to step over and across and then give me attention and look at me. Some horses will follow from that point. Once you've yielded the hindquarters, they'll follow you. Some won't. It's not a big deal. He definitely is paying attention to me. So that is the number one thing that I want. So I'm going to go back up to him here. I'm just going to kind of mosey up there. I don't want to put too much pressure on him. But I like that he's paying attention to me. I'm going to kind of go the other side, see if he'll kind of untrack maybe or follow me or something. I'm just kind of seeing where he's at. He's a little worried now since I've put some pressure on him. He's very intensely looking at me, so I don't want to worry him too much. So let's kind of walk around. I don't want to go straight up to him and try and touch him because you see how I get a little closer and he raises his head up and he's a little worried. So I'm just kind of spiraling around, waiting for him, kind of try and come, there we go, come side on. If he follows me, I'm just going to walk away. So be like, yep, the right answer is right there. So I'm just going to move. Great. So see if he'll connect here. I just kind of walk side on so he's not super worried. Let him sniff my hand. I just want to make sure I still have that connection that I had in the beginning. And I'll walk away when he touches me. Great. Because I always want to begin and end on a good note. I want to have that connection. Can I come touch you? Make sure like we're cool, we're okay. Because that's all the round penning is about, is getting a connection with the horse. So there, he lets me pet him on the face. Good. So he's not terrified of me now after round penning him. I don't want that. I don't want him all worried that I'm going to spank him and chase him. That's not what this is about. So he kind of wants me only in that right eye. He got a little worried. So I'm like, it's okay. Just kind of stayed there, touched him, walked away. Good. He kind of followed me a couple of steps. That's fine. And I'm not super worried. He thinks that he's trying to block me right here because he's a little worried on the right side there. So I just yield the hindquarters, kind of draw him in, and then try and come back over here and see if he'll let me pet him on that side. So I'm not going to chase him or do anything mean to him. I'm just going to yield the hindquarters if he tries to block me out. So he's blocking me on that left side with his right side. So I'll yield the hindquarters on the right side and then kind of come over and just kind of see if I can get close to him on that side. I'm just going to say, no, can you move over and allow me to be on this side? I'll just let him rest with him facing me and then try and kind of, there we go, scooch onto that left side. Pet him on the left side of the face there, make sure he's okay. I just want to make sure that he's good. And this is a little desensitizing too for him afterwards. So it's going to look different as you progress. Because later on, like I'll stick a halter on him, I'll desensitize him with the lead rope and the stick and whatever I'm working on. There we go. Nice leading there. But for him right now, he's still a little wary of me touching him on the face and with two hands. So this is his desensitizing for after the round pen work. So I'm going to try and touch him on the right side too, make sure he's good with me on both sides. So I touched him. He was good. I backed off. So just doing some nice approach and retreat here because he's kind of tilting his head away from me. So I'm just going to back up. Be like, I'm not going to try and put too much pressure on you. I don't want you to leave. He's giving me a calming signal there that he's like, I'm a little unsure about this when he turns his head away. So I'm just going to be like, I see that. I back off. I come back. Back off. See, there's the calming signal again. Just gonna wait for him. Good. But at least he's not trying to run away there, have his attention. Very good. And then he follows me. Great. And doing some licking and chewing. That's fantastic. So I give him a little bit of grain in his bowl, or possibly alfalfa pellets. But he lives over there, and then he just follows the grain bowl in there. So I'm just going to give him a little reward for coming into the round pen and having a good session with me. So, but I'm going to ask for him to touch my hand first, or let me touch him, and then I'll give him his reward. So there he goes.